Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Channel Anime, the anime review show. I'm John. This week, an anime that really makes the best of the little time that it has. I'm talking about Miss Monochrome the animation. Based on a character created and voiced by idol Horie Yui, Miss Monochrome the animation centers around the titular Miss Monochrome, who at the start of the series, and for deliberately unexplained reasons, is a very wealthy android who lives in a castle with her pet robotic vacuum Ruchan and her caretaker Mana. One day, after having a dream about idol Kikaku, Miss Monochrome decides that she needs to become a popular idol as well in order to meet her. She then hires Mana to be her manager, but due to reasons that would be, well, spoilers, Miss Monochrome ends up needing a new manager. It's then that she literally bumps into Manio, and after noticing that he's wearing a tag that says manager, she immediately hires him as her new manager, and the two set out to make her a very popular idol. Now on to the characters, starting off of course with Miss Monochrome, the formerly wealthy idol who's determined to become a popular idol by any means necessary. Next we have Maneo, Miss Monochrome's manager, who tirelessly and often very quickly works to help her achieve her goal. Ruchan, Miss Monochrome's pet robotic vacuum cleaner, who, despite not having any lines or really making any sounds at all, actually has quite a bit of personality. And finally Mana, Miss Monochrome's former manager, who, even though she only appears in the first episode, is really worth mentioning because she sets the entire story in motion. Now on to the art and animation, which I have to say I really like in this series. It has a great 70s, early 80s, vaguely Hanna-Barbera feel to it. However, there is an exception to this, and that's the closing credits sequence. It's the one part of the show that's obviously computer-generated, and it's also incredibly realistic looking. And next on to the music. Now, for reasons that will make sense as I explain a bit more about the series, the music tends to be very serious, almost melodramatic at times. There's also a piano piece that recurs throughout the series that reminds me a lot of the old Peanuts TV animations. And of course, onto the story. Now, Miss Monochrome is a bit unique among anime in that it doesn't really have a recurring storyline. It's really just a premise and a series of gags. And personally, I find that very refreshing. And a lot of the humor tends to come from how committed Miss Monochrome is in achieving her goal, and how earnest Maneo is in helping her, in the face of some real situation. For example, in one episode she turns clay, carves wood and stone, and rides a Segway in an effort to become a more popular idol on her own merits. And in another, she washes dishes, performs a feat of strength that involves pulling a truck with a rope, becomes Prime Minister, and takes a trip into space, all with the goal of standing out more as an idol. Of course, then Maneo points out to her that those aren't jobs for idols, despite the fact that in a previous episode he congratulated her on how well she stood still during a job as a mannequin. Another source of the show's humor is some very surprising left turns that it takes. For example, how Mana ended up not being Miss Monochrome's manager in episode 1, and Miss Monochrome stopping an alien invasion in one episode because Maneo gave her a very high-quality battery. Incidentally, Miss Monochrome and Ruchan both run on AA batteries. The show also gets a lot of its humor from absurdism. For example, the aforementioned alien invasion, or Maneo telling Miss Monochrome that she did well on a particular job because her mannequin act confused kindergartners. Or when Miss Monochrome tells Maneo that she needs a prop because Kikaku has one, he suggests vegetables because he remembers a popular idol who used to hold leeks. Now, admittedly, the series really doesn't do anything groundbreaking, and probably won't be remembered in 25 years. It's really just a throwback to the old school vignette cartoons, but it is a highly entertaining way to spend a few minutes a week. Alright, that's it for Miss Monochrome. Until 2 weeks from now, when I'll be returning to the world of Clannad for Clannad After Story. I'll be taking next week off for the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. Take a look down in the description and you'll find a link to find Miss Monochrome the animation on Crunchyroll. Links to find the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Links to my anime list and Crunchyroll profiles. And of course a link to Zombie Takeout, the Being Cult movie review podcast that I co-host and produce. Until 2 weeks from now, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Is a very wealthy android who lives in a castle with her pet robotic vacuum blah blah blah.